Welcome back to Definitely Not Definitive. I'm Ken.
And I'm Bethany.
We're just a couple of kooky, crazy kids in love. We love reacting to some Pokemon.
Yes, we do.
So checking out, this is our last thing for Pokemon spooky season. We got Pokemon's Scariest Region by Tortoise City. I just like the name of that channel.
That's awesome. Tortoise City.
Yeah.
That makes me happy.
It's a good one. So if you want all of our reactions for Pokemon, see our journey that we've been going on with this, then check out the description of this video for a playlist. And we are going to check this out.
Yeah.
Pokemon has always included some mildly spooky stuff with a goofy streak. The Gengar line is a fan favorite, and for good reason. Ostensibly, they're scary ghost Pokemon, but their personalities are pretty cartoonish in nature and strike a nice balance for the target audience of the games. There are some Pokemon that are more directly scary, while others maintain that goofier demeanor. I like ghost Pokemon, and I like Pokemon's approach to spooky. There's always a foggy tower or an abandoned building or resting place for Pokemon to give ghost Pokemon a natural home. This emphasis on environment and setting for the spookiness is what I'd like to talk about today. Specifically, I want to discuss how the haunting areas got turned up to 11 in Generation 4 with great effect. Sinnoh is a region defined by its creation myths and the origin of the existence of the world and the dimensions. But with that comes an undercurrent of suggestions
Scary
that
old
while
lady.
the world that people and Pokemon live in is complete, there is another world waiting on just the other side that is never too far away. In some locations in the Sinnoh region, the player can come a little closer to this world than usual. The first of these locations is the Old Chateau, located in the back of Eterna Forest.
I think the Old Chateau is the one
Approaching the
from
chateau after
Pokemon
meeting
Generations.
The local
Oh,
gym
the
leader
iconic house one?
Gardenia,
Yeah.
you find her
so.
standing there, apparently too afraid to enter. The area is locked behind cut access, which you can use with the badge from Gardenia. This is a good start. A supposedly senior leader in the local town is afraid of this house. Upon entry, the chateau is dilapidated, with the banisters missing legs and the carpet graying and torn in areas. As a commenter recently noted, there is a single statue in the foyer, which the game notes, it appears as if it is glaring. The statue is to one side of the door, which seems odd,
Push it to
as
the
though
other
there
side.
should be another statue to the other side of the door. As it turns out, there is another single statue in another odd building in Sinnoh, which is closely guarded. But anyway, back to the chateau. The building is large with several rooms upstairs and a dining room downstairs.
Like the Batman
The
table.
atmosphere and condition of the building is inherently eerie. The bookshelves upstairs have cheerful Pokemon books and magazines in them, contrasted to the scrawled, faded note on the ground, which barely reads, "Something so peculiar should make off with the motor." Or almost reads, since some of the letters are missing. It all adds up to this strange, almost hypnotic environment with the ultimate feeling of, I shouldn't be here. There's a strange picture in one of the bedrooms whose eyes follow the player around, even when they're in different rooms. And then there's the ghosts. Not ghost Pokemon, though those are here too, but the actual human ghosts who occasionally appear in the chateau. There is a little girl who appears in one of the bedrooms, and a butler in the dining room. Neither can be interacted with, but I actually like that better. It adds to the intrigue of the place. This whole mansion is just so spooky and detailed, and felt amazing to explore for the first time. Pokemon has obviously done graveyard-type locations before.
The
with
TV has
Pokemon
a malevolent
Tower
feel
and
to it.
Mount Pyre,
Poltergeist.
but
Poltergeist,
never
yeah.
anything this direct. Being able to catch a ghost Pokemon here that inhabits various machines is just the cherry on top. I love the Old Chateau. It is a top-tier haunted house. On to the next area, not necessarily in order, Turnback Cave. Pokemon had tried some stuff out like this with odd cave structures and non-linear gates in the Sevi Islands, but didn't do nearly as much to tie it to the game's lore. For those not in the know, this area is the closest place in Sinnoh to the Distortion World, which can be accessed here in the post-game in Pokemon Platinum. To reach the Distortion World, you must find 3 pillars in 3 different rooms before you pass through 30 rooms. If you walk back through a doorway, your pillar count is
You're screwed.
reset and you must start over.
Oh, that
Once
sucks.
you do find 3 pillars, you enter the main room,
So it's don't turn back,
which in
kid.
Diamond and Pearl contains Giratina, which can be battled and caught, and in Platinum has a portal to the Distortion World, where the Grizius Orb can be found. There is dense fog
I wonder
throughout
what the
cave
Distortion World
and
is.
a series of elaborate
Yeah,
rock
right?
What's that
layouts
about?
to obstruct your path. The path to the center is very on the nose, with the exhortation that the player should turn back and not
The fog just
progress
makes me think
any
of,
further, being very clear.
Silent Hill.
Admittedly, the rocks are just kind of annoying and don't really add much, but the rest of it is really spooky.
They're
The
spooky
inscription on the pillar
rocks.
in the main room reads, "This is that where life sparkles, that where life is faded, a place where 2 worlds overlap," in reference to the Distortion World just beyond. It is quite literally a
poem.
gateway to the underworld.
Oh, okay.
Knowing in advance
The
how
Distortion World is the
game
underworld.
works and the end goal, it is incredibly immersive. I absolutely loved exploring this cave as a kid. It felt so much more expansive than anything in Generation 2 or 3, with the puzzle, the dense fog, the fact that it is at the bottom of a crater lake, the terrifyingly large Giratina waiting for me in the end, and the cryptic engraving on the wall afterwards. It is a perfect example of using the environment, a game mechanic, and the music to make a place seem so much more than just a random set of rooms with a rare Pokemon at the end of it. I will quickly make one note on the Distortion World. I think it's very cool, and certainly unsettling with its gravitational distortion and disappearing paths, but merits a separate exploration of what makes it great, so I won't be talking about it here. The last airy location I wanted to talk about is New Moon Island. This is accessible only with the member card, an event item distributed to players via Wi-Fi in 2008 and 2009. The card allows the player to enter the Harbour Inn in Canalave City, but only after encountering Cresselia and obtaining the Lunar Wing. Upon entering the inn, a man greets you and informs you that he has been
Kills you.
waiting for you for a long time, before guiding you to a bed inside. The player falls asleep.
creepy
in the
man
bed
puts you to bed?
as if
It's H.H.
pinned
Holmes!
there, and wakes up on New Moon Island, unable to
Run!
leave using the boat that is stationed there. The only way out is by
got a
battling
boat on the
Darkrai and losing, defeating it, or catching it. If you lose, you return to the Pokemon Center as you would normally, and can restart the event anew. If you defeat Darkrai, a voice calls out to you and explains why Darkrai is on New Moon Island, before you fall asleep again and wake up in the inn. When you exit the inn, you can immediately re-enter and trigger the event again, giving you another opportunity to battle Darkrai. Interestingly, a cutscene will trigger only if you catch Darkrai, where a sailor asks you what happened to you, and informs you that you have been asleep for a long, long time.
30 years.
Before noting that no one has lived in that inn for 50 years, aligns with the date carved into the member card. This
That's
whole
cool.
thing is just dripping
Yeah.
with classic horror pastiche, and I absolutely love it. I think all 3 areas do exceptionally well to deliver lore to the player in a semi-starved fashion. These areas would not be nearly as impactful if once you had entered and completed the main task, an NPC came up to you and explained in full detail the story behind each Pokemon and each area. It only works because of the scattered and incomplete information the player receives in different parts of each area. Not knowing where the other statue from the old chateau went and having to find it guarded in the Pokemon Mansion is much more thrilling than having Mr. Backslot jump you and say that he stole the statue. The cryptic
am a
inscriptions
thief.
on the pillars in Turnback Cave and the lack of explanation of the puzzle make exploring the cave and catching Giratina feel like much more of an accomplishment, while also making the area feel more special as the weak point between the fabric of worlds. The mystery behind the member card, waking up after sleeping for a long time in the inn, and the sailor who asks you why you are in there anyway just leaves you
nobody's
wanting
in there.
more, but you're better for it. I have in the past castigated Pokemon for not giving players more information, but in these cases I think it works exceptionally well. I also wanted to make a special note of the music, which I won't play now because I value not being on a Nintendo watch list. The areas have a shared theme. Listed in the track list is just the old chateau theme. It is probably the spookiest piece of music I know that has been included in a main series game. I think it fits particularly well with Turnback Cave, the groaning strings and echoed piano chords matching the feeling of disorientation as you struggle to make your way through the cave. I also think it works really well as you fall asleep in the inn, since there is no transition between the inn and the island. It just plays seamlessly, which really makes it feel like you have somehow not left the inn. The juxtaposition of the Scariest City theme and the old chateau theme when you leave the inn is startling, and makes it feel so much more jarring. The music adds so much to each of these areas, to have a very well arranged and fitting piece of music to match the physical environment. It makes the Pokemon you encounter in the areas feel much more ghoulish and strange. The style
Especially for
of these
horror, it's
areas
like a
marked a
very
shift
key
in the
component.
Pokemon series for what was
100%.
scary for the protagonist. In previous titles, adults with
Feels like
bad
this should
motives
tease
posed
talk
the
about
main
music
threat
during
to
that.
the
I know, I
players.
know.
They made their journey collecting badges and fighting trainers.
Boss Giovanni.
In Generation 3, the added threat of the ocean or the land was there, but these events were only brought about through the misguided actions of adults. In Generation 4, adults are there again, and still with extremely bizarre motives, but the scariest things here are the environments you visit. You might not necessarily be frightened when Cyrus was standing at Sparepella lecturing Giratina about coming under his control, but you sure were when it jumped out of the screen and you landed in the distortion world. When you stood at the cut trees in Eterna Forest and spoke to Gardenia, her trepidation at the old chateau told you more than you needed to know. If the local gym leader is scared,
Especially
I should
sinister
be
shadows.
terrified. The puzzle in Turnback Cave and the struggle to make it to the center room, eternally feeling like you are entering and leaving the same room, makes for a disorienting quest.
Yeah,
These
I would have
areas
hated
made
that.
catching the legendary Pokemon
Yeah, especially if we have
feel
to start
so much
over,
more
that's-
Yeah,
special
I should have been
and
super
unique
frustrated.
than previous entries. I've always
Fuck
loved
this
the
game, I'm out.
mythology and ruins that are a part of legendary Pokemon catching, particularly the Reggies and Skypella in Generation 3. Those are great, but Generation 4 improved on these areas so much, adding much more intrigue and mystery to an already exciting encounter. It might be cliched now, but as a kid, reading the faded text on signs in the ruins was the sickest thing ever. It had my head spinning, and I really felt like I was there, making my way through a dark, foggy cave that never ends. Going to sleep in the house in Scariest City and waking up on an isolated island, only to be confronted by a nightmare Pokemon, was way too cool to young me, and even just going back to that setting after catching the Pokemon had me awestruck. The developers really nailed the way that the environment reinforces the spookiness of it all, and made it feel so much more than just going to throw balls at something with a catch rate of 3 for 40 minutes. And that's all I had, folks. Tell me, did any of these areas scare the heck out of you as a kid? Did you enjoy exploring them as much as I did? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear
even as a
people's
kid,
thoughts.
I don't think I would have been
Please
scared
be
by any
sure
of
to
those.
like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.
Didn't have
It
any
helps
Freddy
the
Krueger.
channel out a bunch. Give me a
It's true.
follow on
no
Twitch
Pinhead.
if you want to chat between
Also
videos
true.
and see some speedruns.
Not
Thanks
even
for watching.
Chucky. I think other areas, like, so when somebody pitched this video to us on our Patreon, we were like, I was like, oh, okay, like we'll see the chateau that we really enjoyed in the Pokemon Generations. It was a lot cooler seeing it, obviously, in the Pokemon Generations than this, but like I still wanted to see it. I actually liked, I think, the cave and like the hotel or whatever better. Like the chateau would be like my third spot on this one, as far as like the spooky vibes go.
Yeah, I mean, I think the cave for me felt like it would be
With the
it would be
mist
the
and
number one
everything.
spot. Yeah,
And the disorientation of like getting like having to turn back and go like all over the place and starting over. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. I mean, minus the starting over part, that kind of like
Yeah, it would suck, but
makes it less fun.
I mean, like, it'd be frustrating, but like also like as like the eeriness of like, man, how the hell am I supposed to get out of this place? Like, no matter where
True.
I go, like, you know, it feels like I'm starting over, and so that's kind of like the maze of it makes it a little, and the fog and everything like that gives it a little bit more of a spooky, eerie vibe to me.
Yeah, the fog was very effective in this. I mean, going through like the chateau and stuff and seeing the ghost in the dining room, like that's cool. And I agree with the guy. I like the fact that you couldn't interact with it because that's more unsettling than if it could interact, because then the creators have to put their stamp on what their version of a ghost is, and like
Yeah.
that can just kind of take you out of it a little bit. That would be fun, but wouldn't necessarily be scary. But like the mist in the cave, like kind of trying to deal with that and not being able to see where you just came from or where you're going to, that was for sure going to be more successful at creeping me out. I mean, these are kids games, so like it's not that scary, but like that would be the thing that would be more unsettling.
Yeah, I agree. And then like, I mean, coming out, it's like no one's lived there for 50 years. That's just like kind of like, I don't know, like a trope for scary stories and like ghost and haunted houses or whatever. But the chateau itself, I don't know. Like, I just, even when he was like going through it, I didn't get like a very like spooky vibe from it. Like, yeah, they're like the statue was like in a different place, and they said like, you know, oh, you can't touch that. It's on like, you know, someone had stolen it, but I didn't really get like, I mean, at least the other place was like, you know, you were like, it was a connection to hell or whatever, like Pokemon Hell and stuff,
Yeah.
like in the cave and whatnot. So the cave to me was really like the only super spooky region.
I mean, the chateau in Pokemon Generations, that was definitely scary.
Yeah,
that was
loved it.
cool.
I'd love a show like just around that.
Yeah, I would watch that for sure.
Yeah. Let us know what you thought about this down below in the comments. And if you want all of our Pokemon reactions, we got a playlist in the description of this video. Thanks so much for seeing our reaction for Tortoise City's Pokemon's Scariest Regions video, but just keep in mind
That our reaction is definitely not definitive.